Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, obviously the big news is that Iran has finally launched an attack. Iran launched an attack last week. Now you have Israel that has launched an attack on Iran. And honestly, I think it was a smart move. I think it needed to be done. I wish it would have been done sooner. I wish it would have been more devastating. However, there have been reports that Israel did exactly what they set out to do. They were able to launch some attacks, and we'll show you some videos shortly here. And they were able to destroy a military base where Iranian jet fighters were located. I don't know. I have not heard word or confirmation as to whether or not any of the nuclear facilities inside of Iran were taken out, damaged, or destroyed. But from reports that I've heard thus far, it was simply Israel wanting to send a message to Iran that they could get past their anti-missile systems, their anti-defense systems, their anti-plane, whatever systems. They can get past them, and they could use AI to get into Iranian airspace and attack Iran at any given time that they want to. So the goal, I believe, was to send a message loud and clear. It sounds as if they achieved that goal. So we'll talk about that shortly. Also, there was another trans shooter that was thwarted. They were able to find the manifesto in a home search warrant. I'm going to read the manifesto to you. I thought about naming today's podcast Biden's Radicals, because what we do see happening across or around the globe, how the Biden administration is radicalizing not just pro-Hamas students. By the way, Ilhan Omar's daughter, I believe her name is Irsi Omar. I believe. Anyway, she was arrested, one of a few people arrested at Columbia University. So we'll talk about that shortly. But this is what Biden has done. He's emboldened the Iranian mullahs. He's emboldened the pro-Hamas, anti-Jewish students right here in the United States of America. It's absolutely fascinating what this president has done. And I believe that he's emboldened the mentally deranged community, those that suffer with gender dysphoria, that are looking for their place, if you will, and on this earth. They want to feel like they're a part of something. I'm going to read to you this disturbing manifesto. Thank God this was thwarted. Before I go any further, I want to talk to you about my sponsors. First off, Wealth Protection Research. At the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we hold sacred, and that is free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish. Yet, in today's digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations crucial to our financial independence and security. This is where Wealth Protection Research steps in. All right. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech, committed to giving a voice to the silent. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 election report. This free report highlights the three best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word IDEAS, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, then act now. Text IDEAS to 76626 to claim your free copy of this 2024 election protection report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text IDEAS, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy. All right, now let's get right to this. Actually, before I do, let me make mention of this too. All of the jurors on the Trump trial, just so you know, the Trump non-disclosure agreement trial. You know, they want to. It's easy to say hush money, but that's what non-disclosure agreements essentially are. Hush money being the pejorative term to use to make it sound bad. And guys, sometimes it could be bad. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But listen, there's non-disclosure agreements for a reason. Businesses have non-disclosure agreements all the time. Sometimes they will just use those non-disclosure agreements because they want to they'd rather, instead of dealing with legal fees, if somebody comes at them, whether that person is legitimate or not, and oftentimes they're not, you just say, I don't want to deal with the hassle. This means we're going to have to show up in court. This means we're going to have to pay all of these attorney's fees. What will it cost? What will it take for them to go away? And a lot of businesses do that. A lot of rich people do that. Let's be real. All right. So anyway, 12 hat tip to the Daily Caller. All 12 jurors have been selected for former President Donald Trump's trial relating to Alvin Bragg's allegations that he falsified business records to hide a payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. Now, let me remind you, the Southern District of New York looked into this, federal prosecutors, and said, hey, nothing to see here. The DOJ looked into this and said, hey, nothing to see here. But and then you get a local district attorney in Alvin Bragg that doesn't have the authority to be able to prosecute a federal crime like this, it isn't a crime, by the way. And he says, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. So the jurors include an investment banker, a security engineer with 3 children, a retired man from Lebanon who enjoys fly fishing, a speech therapist, a worker at an eyewear company, a woman from California who works in product development, and a physical therapist. This, according to Politico. The panel is comprised of 7 men and 5 women, according to NBC News. The 7 jurors sworn in now join 5 who were selected on Tuesday, completing that panel that will weigh Bragg's 34-count indictment against the former president. So this guy took a misdemeanor, what would be a misdemeanor, and somehow magically made it 34 felony counts. This is insane. 6 additional jurors are needed to serve as alternates, and Judge Juan Merchant, whose daughter fundraises for the DNC and for Democratic candidates, said he is quote unquote hopeful that selection will finish tomorrow, according to NBC News. He says one alternate has already been selected, according to multiple reports. The alternate is a female asset manager who, quote, likes to run, hang out with her friends, and eat, close quote. Dude, I don't even care. The jury's 4-person selected Tuesday works in sales and is originally from Ireland, according to Politico. He's married, likes anything outdoorsy, quote unquote, lives in West Harlem, and reads the New York Times, Fox News, and MSNBC, according to NBC News. And I don't believe that. I believe he reads the New York Times, and then he threw in Fox News to pretend like he could be fair. The second juror is a married investment banker who says he follows Trump's posts on Truth Social. The third juror is a young corporate law attorney from Oregon who lives in Chelsea. He's unmarried and says he gets news from New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Google. So he's definitely voting against Trump. The 4th juror has 3 children and likes woodworking and metalworking, according to NBC. He's a security engineer without any social media account. All right, he may be the one that says Trump should walk. The 5th juror, I'm stereotyping all these fools. The 5th juror is a young female English teacher who lives with her boyfriend in Harlem. All right, she's going to try to convict him. The 6th juror is a recent college graduate who works as a software engineer. She lives in Chelsea with 3 roommates and does not have strong feelings about Trump. I'm always curious when people say they don't have strong feelings about Trump, but maybe it's true. The 7th juror is a civil litigation attorney from North Carolina who lives on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. He has 2 kids and is married, according to CNN. The 8th juror has 2 kids and used to be a wealth manager. He's retired now and enjoys hobbies that include skiing, fly fishing, and yoga. So when he said skiing and fly fishing, I was like, okay, this person might be on Trump's side. But then when you say yoga, you got to question that. I'm not sure. The 9th juror is an unmarried woman who lives alone. She's voting against Trump. She works as a speech therapist and said she likes reality TV, podcasts. All right, the 10th juror, originally from Ohio, works in commerce and enjoys podcasts on behavioral psychology. The 11th juror who Trump tried to remove after she said she did not like his persona is a product development manager. And then the 12th juror is a female physical therapist who listens to sports and faith-based podcasts. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm not sure what to make of that all, but interesting pick there. So that will get underway, a court case that that should have never been brought. So there's that news. Now, let me get into this real quick. Gabe, let's go ahead and roll the video. You had Israel that went ahead and attacked Iran yesterday. Victor Davis Hanson had a fabulous column entitled "Are Iran's 9 Lives Nearing an End?" I wish I could say yes, but I'm not so certain. But I'll explain to you why Iran or the mullahs of Iran have deserved to be attacked for quite some time, and how they play, they play all of these little left wingers inside the United States for a fool. So let's go ahead and roll that first video, por favor, Mr. Casiano. So basically, what you're seeing, according to the reports, is Israel launched what they considered a limited attack. Now, listening to a former Israeli intelligence official, he said this may mean that Israel is just launching a first attack and a wave of attacks to come, or this could mean that what Israel wanted to do was just make it emphatically clear that, listen, we see you, we know who you are, we can get you. We can get past your anti-defense systems, whatever they may be. We can get past them. We can use AI-guided weaponry to get to you, to get to your nuclear facilities. This from Daily Wire. Israel launched an attack against the Islamic Republic of Iran during the early morning hours on Friday in response to Iran launching its unprecedented attack on Israel. Remember, that was the first time that Iran had directly attacked Israel in history. U.S. officials did confirm that multiple American publications that the Israeli missiles struck sites inside of Iran. Initial reports that the explosions happened in the Iranian cities of Isfahan and Natanz. Although the targets of the attack have not been confirmed, both cities have significant facilities in the country's nuclear program, according to the Daily Wire. Iranian state media later reported that none of the nuclear facilities in the area were hit. So I'm not sure if that's true or not, but those are the reports. Apparently what Israel wanted to do was go inside and again let the mullahs of Iran know that we could get to you, but they did not want to cause any casualties. They just wanted to scare them to make sure that they don't attack them directly again. And hopefully they accomplish that ends. All right. So subsequent reports said that the explosions happened near a military base where Iranian fighter jets were located. People in Isfahan said that they heard multiple explosions, and that's what you saw there, that, quote, led to the houses shaking violently from the intensity of the explosions. Flight trackers showed multiple commercial passenger planes that immediately rerouted, leaving the country of Iran. You had Senator Marco Rubio, he's a vice chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, said just moments after the news of the strikes became public, quote, Israel has the ability to conduct strikes against targets inside Iran without entering Iranian airspace. And I said that wrong. I believe I mentioned earlier that Israel could go inside of Iranian airspace, but they can hit targets without entering Iranian airspace from aircraft over Syrian and Iraqi airspace. And now what does that tell you too? I'm not so sure that all of the people in the Middle East are that fond of the mullahs of Iran. Actually, we know they aren't, because you have places like Egypt and all that are like, hey, we don't want these fools from Gaza. We don't want these terrorists in our hood. So it's absolutely fascinating. Shortly before the attack happened, Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir, the Iranian foreign minister threatened the U.S. and Israel while conducting an interview on U.S. soil. I can't stand this. I hope to God, I hope and pray that we get Joe Biden out of office in November. because I just simply believe that the world is absolutely on fire. If nothing else, I believe. Listen, I think it's going to take quite some time to turn this country around, generation or two. I don't think that it's going to happen overnight. And I hope that it does happen. All right. Because sometimes I'm a little bit concerned. We need a lot more fighters, both in the conservative movement and, frankly, both in evangelical churches that are willing to be salt and light to an ever increasingly dark world. And I'm not convinced that we have that right now. The American church, in particular, evangelical movement, just seems to be so so weak. This is a quote from whom? This is the Iranian foreign minister. He said, in case the Israeli regime embarks on adventurism again and takes action against the interests of Iran, the next response from us will be immediate and at a maximum level. Well, I'm not sure if they were holding back. I hope not. And I definitely hope that it wasn't, since the United States knew that Iran was going to launch an attack against Israel last week, basically shooting off 300 types of missiles and drones, and America knew about it seemingly. I hope this wasn't an attempt by the Biden administration to deplete some of Israel's weaponry. I mean, you never can tell. You just never know anymore, right? I mean, you guys know I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you absolutely never know. Just real quick, let me get through Victor Davis Hanson's, some of the things that he said. And again, he reminds us that that Iran has 9 lives. And he reminds us that the theocracy of Iran has been the world's arch embassy attacker over the last half century. So for 50 years, Iran has been a pain in the butt, not only to Western civilization, but honestly, even to other Muslims, in the Middle East. All right. So they have zero credibility in crying foul over Israel's April 1 attacks on its consulate, quote unquote, in Damascus, and the killing of Iran's kingpin terrorist of the Revolutionary Guard Corps, Victor Davis Hanson writes, and he's absolutely right. You can't take terrorists seriously. So they're going to terrorize Israel. They're going to terrorize the world. And then all of a sudden, when you fight back, oh, you're the problem. No. Honestly, I wish that these people would be assassinated. I wish that we could stand up for the Iranian Persians that want nothing to do with this regime and find themselves being beaten and raped and tortured as a result of these people being in charge. The world was first introduced to the Iranian Ayatollahs by their violent takeover of the U.S. embassy in Tehran. This was all the way back in 1980. You guys may recall that. And then they took some hostages. And then when Ronald Reagan got into office, they released him. Iranian surrogates next bombed the American embassy in Beirut and the Marine barracks. That was in 1983. Iran has attacked U.S. Israeli diplomats on and off for decades now. Most recently in 2023, when Iran, you guys may remember this, they helped plan an attack on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Now, I had forgotten about that, to be frank with you, but at that point in time, the Biden administration were relieving all types of sanctions against Iran, and I mentioned those the other day in a podcast. But these people are free to sell oil to China and all this kind of stuff. I mean, just relieving sanctions. We gave them cash money. It's insane. It's insane. So several others, and they say for this reason, or Victor Davis Hanson writes, for this reason and several others, Iran's justification for sending 170 drones, 30 cruise missiles, 120 ballistic missiles into Israel on the grounds that Israel had bombed an Iranian diplomat post is absolutely ridiculous. He says, one, Iran has never honored diplomatic immunity. We know that. It habitually attacks and kills embassy personnel and blows up diplomatic facilities across the world. Two, on April 1st, the Israelis attacked a pseudo consulate, quote unquote, in Damascus, which was hosting grandees of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as they planned terrorist attacks against Israel. So that's why Israel bombed that consulate in Damascus. So without Iran, the Middle East might have had a chance, he says, to use its enormous oil, natural gas, wealth to lift its 500 million people out of poverty rather than to be mired in consulate, tribal, and religious Israeli, anti-American, and anti-Western terrorism. I'm not convinced of that because of their belief system. I do believe, yeah, and I understand that money can calm people down. Well, listen, we saw that with the Abraham Accords, right? With former President Trump. So we were all shocked by that. At least I was. I didn't think you would ever see any type of peace to that level in the Middle East, to be frank with you. So that was very impressive. You got to give kudos to former President Donald Trump for that. But at some point, I figure if there's anyone in the Middle East that actually believes in believes in the Quran, then eventually these fools are going to come and get us. All right. He goes on to say, during the Iraq War, so how so many American Iran Shiite terrorists and their massive supplies of deadly shaped charged explosive devices killed hundreds of Americans. So he's asked, how does Iran get away with the nonstop anti-Western terrorism, its constant harassment of Persian Gulf maritime traffic, its efforts to subvert Sunni and moderate regimes, its serial hostage taking? How do they get away with it? He named several reasons. One, Iran is careful never to attack a major power directly. That's why it was such a shock that they attacked Israel directly. They simply don't do it. Until last week, it had never sent missiles and drones into Israel. He says its economy is one-dimensionally dependent on oil exports, and its paranoid government distrusts its own people who have no access to free elections. So Iranian strategy over the last few decades has relied on surrogates, proxies. Hezbollah has relied on Hamas and all that kind of stuff, especially expendable Arab Shia terrorists in Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen, along with Sunni Arabs of Hamas, to do its dirty work of killing Israelis and Americans. It's loudly egged all of them on and then cowardly denied responsibility once it feared Israeli or American tradition. So that's why it was such a big deal. Two, how do they get away with this behavior? It has fooled Western governments and especially left-wing American administrations by posing as a persecuted victim. Iran claims it is a champion of aggrieved Shiite Arab and Persian minorities. All right. So it claims, see, this is what the left does. Gabe, let's go ahead and roll that other video. These are the students at Columbia University that were praising these pro-Hamas protesters that absolutely hate Jews. And you have to understand that this administration, the Biden administration, has just wholly embraced radicals. Do we have that other video, Gabe? Yeah, let's go ahead and roll that. All right, so these are all of the anti-Jews and pro-Hamas protesters at Columbia University. Guys, this is on university. I'm telling you, these colleges they should not get any federal funds in these institutions. And I hate saying this stuff because I have no compunction that Republicans will actually do it. So we're going to have to make concerted efforts as, Lord willing, Republicans take over seats and get in. I'm trying to see if Ilhan Omar's daughter, Google fires 28 employees who protested Israel by staging sit-ins in its offices. Good job, Google, even though I hate the commies at Google. So many other people are just entitled. Oh, man. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking for... Anyway, what's her name? Oh my Lord! Ilhan Omar's daughter from Columbia University was arrested for her protest at Columbia University. Apparently, she got a little cray-cray, but she was released on bond, as far as I know. And but this is what Biden is creating. He's creating a bunch of people that not only hate America and they're inside of America, and these people are in these institutions where they're going to go on and be leaders of our societies and get great paying jobs. They're going to do so absolutely hating America, absolutely hating Jews. And it's a scary thought to think of. But these people support Iran. Another reason Iran gets away with their hatred for the West and Western terrorism, or terrorism against the West and Israel, is the third reason. Hansen writes is, Iran hopes its pseudo-diplomatic outreach to left-wing Western governments, coupled with its lunatic existential threats and unleashing terrorist attacks on its enemies, can coax or bully the West into granting it concessions. So here's what the people in the West know. The mullahs of Iran, they mean what they say. They're weak. They're vulnerable. We could take them out virtually anytime we wanted. I mean, it's not necessarily our fight, but we could if we wanted to, right? And I guess at this point, it technically is, since they attacked some of our Navy ships. Once they put our men and women in danger, I think we should kill them. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the way I feel. But right now, Biden is all for appeasement. All you have to do is think of how during Trump's administration, that guy basically isolated them. He basically bankrupted Iran. All they had to go on was, again, their oil sales to other countries, whether it be to Russia, whether it be to China. So Trump slapping those sanctions on absolutely bankrupted these foods. And then Biden gets on and just reverses course. It's insane. Iran's only hope is to get a bomb at this point. Victor Davis Hansen writes, and with it, nuclear deterrence. So they want a nuclear bomb. And I don't know that it's necessarily to just drop a bomb on Israel or the United States of America, although I don't doubt that they would want to do that. But what the mullahs of Iran want to be able to do for certain is to have that deterrence where we're like, okay, if they try to kill any Americans, if they try to kill any of our allies in Israel, it'll be hands off, because nobody wants to deal with crazy nut jobs that own a nuclear bomb. And that's why we need to stop that nuclear bomb. But Hansen writes some great questions, or asks some great questions. Does even the Lebanese Hezbollah really want to take revenge against Israel on behalf of Persian Iran? Because he says this. He says this after speaking of the deterrence of the nuclear bomb to prevent retaliation when it increases its surrogate attacks on Israel. It says, yet now Iran may have jumped the shark by attacking the Israeli homeland for the first time. It is learning that it has almost no sympathetic allies. So this is what you need to understand. Iran has no allies in the Middle East. The people of Iran do not like their leaders. The surrounding nation states, if you will, in the Middle East do not like Iran. So he asked the question, does even the Lebanese Hezbollah really want to take revenge against Israel on behalf of Persian Iran, only to see its Shia neighborhoods in Lebanon reduced to rubble? So do they really want to sacrifice for the people that wouldn't sacrifice for them, yet pays them to go out and kill Israelis? Do all the pro-Hamas protesters on American soil or on American campuses, he asked, and in the streets really want to show Americans they celebrate Iranian attacks and a potential Iranian war against the United States? Does Iran really believe that 99% of any future Israel barrage against Iranian targets would fail to hit targets in the fashion that its own recent launches failed? So this is a good point, because I think what we saw last week is Israel was able to take Iranian rockets out of the sky, whereas Israel, with a limited strike, was able to penetrate Iran's border. It's very, 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 very good point. So just something for Iran to consider. Israel could take them out. I hope they do. And by the way, we shouldn't be surprised at what's happening on Columbia University. This is from New York Post. Columbia University press won't say if hurtful slogan from the river to the sea is anti-Semitic. Really? So the Columbia University president, Manu Shafiq, refused to tell lawmakers on Wednesday whether, quote, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, close quote, counts as an anti-Semitic phrase, instead only calling it, quote unquote, hurtful, and adding that she would, quote unquote, prefer not to hear it around the Ivy League campus. Oh, man, these people are freaking unbelievable. All right. But again, the theme is Biden's radicals. That's exactly what he's created. So we've gone over Trump's jurors have been selected. We've gone over Israel launching its attack on Iran. And I'm totally grateful for that. The crazies that are being produced and created by the left on our college campuses that will turn against you, by the way. They will violently turn against you. We've already seen that with BLM, right? We've already seen that with Hamas and BLM. So just something to consider. And now, here's a couple of things that I won't be able to get to just for the sake of time. I will be on Officer Tatum's show tonight, so I'll share these stories. But a boy was suspended for using the term illegal alien from his high school. This guy's an athlete. Now, remember, we just had Olivia Crowcheck on, and we haven't posted that yet. We'll get that posted for you. She's with the Riley Gaines Center and also a reporter for Campus Reform that was literally failed in one of her classes at the University of Cincinnati for using the term biological men or man. I mean, absolutely insane. But there's another crazy story. These stories are happening all too often, and it's the left's war on truth. So I'll get into that a little further, but just know I'll be in for the Officer Tatum, and I'll share that. But I want you to trip off of this real quick before we close it out. And before we do, I do want to remind you too of MyPillow.com. Right now, MyPillow.com has this $25 extravaganza. So you guys know that Mike Lindell and MyPillow has been the victim, if you will. I hate using that term, but they have been subjected to cancel culture. All right. The big box stores kicked them out. Even these like home shopping network type channels, they absolutely hate them, hate Mike Lindell because he is a patriot. But the people that get hurt or what gets hurt are not just his employees, but entrepreneurs in general, conservative entrepreneurs, Mike Lindell being one of them. But right now, what he's doing is he has decided, since they are trying to cancel him, to pass all of the savings that he can on to you. So there's a $25 extravaganza sale going on. So Mother's Day is coming up. Father's Day is coming up. Now is the time to buy. They got, I think it's like a 6-piece towel set for $25. 2-pack multi-use My Pillows are just $25. The sandals, My Pillow sandals, are $25. Yeah, it is a 6-pack towel set, $25. Brand new pack of dish towels, that's $25. And for the first time ever, the premium My Pillows with all the new Giza fabric, those are just $25. Orders that are over $75 get free shipping. So it's absolutely insane. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. I don't spell it like the communists. Or you can give them a call at 800-858-0263. And again, that is promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, 800-858-0263. Or go to mypillow.com, click on that radio podcast square, and enter the promo code Carl. All right, so I wanted to share this with you because I doubt that you will hear it anywhere else. And we need to be on the alert because what the left is doing is they are raising up an army. And I think they're raising up an army with our military forces too. I think that's why they're making them go woke or trying to turn our military woke. I didn't want to believe this back in the day, but it's so obvious. The left is raising up an army that will turn against Americans, that will turn against patriots. That's why we're living in such very, 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 very scary times. What is this? Oh, this is another headline I'm not going to be able to get to. But actually, a couple. Dr. Phil warns Americans to prepare for next lockdowns. You better have a plan. And why not? Because Biden's latest reelection gambit, he may be declaring a national climate emergency. I've talked to you about this before. Obviously, that would be the next, climate lockdowns. That's the reason why they have to force you to buy EVs. They have to keep you scared. Like every day is like Halloween with the Democrat Party. They want to keep you scared as crap so that you'll run into their arms. That's what they want to do. All right. So anyway, let me just read some of this manifesto. This was on Town. No, wrong one. Do I have the story in front of me? Are you kidding me? I don't think I have the story in front of me. Oh, here we go. I had them marked incorrectly. All right. Anyway, sometimes my mind is racing so quick. I just had them marked incorrectly. All right. This from the Post Millennial. An 18-year-old female trans student. And I don't know which is which. I'm not going to lie. I get so confused on this. My wife was trying to explain it to me this morning. I still didn't know what the hell she was talking about. It's so confusing. But that's what it's meant to be. An 18-year-old high school student who identifies as trans was arrested and charged over alleged plans to shoot up Montgomery County, Maryland school. You notice how so many of these shooters are trans? I mean, it's crazy. All right. The suspect had a 129 page manifesto in which the students strategized how to undertake the crime. Andrea Yee of Rockville, who goes by Alex Yee. So I guess it's a chick trying to be a dude, or is it a dude? I have no idea. Was arrested on Wednesday by local Montgomery County police. This follows an investigation carried out by local police in association with the FBI field office in Baltimore. The manifesto was discovered after a search warrant was issued. Quote, Yee was taken into custody and charged with threats of mass violence. He is currently being held at the Montgomery. So I don't know if these people are politically correct or calling him out, because I really don't know what sex this person is. He is currently being held at the Montgomery County Central Processing Unit, where he awaits a bond hearing. I'm assuming it's a dude trying to be a chick or pretending to be a chick. Anyway, here's how the manifesto read, just so I can creep you out, and just so you should be alarmed and ready anywhere you go. Guys, I'm telling you, the other day, I didn't share this with you. I thought I was being followed. I am not lying to you. I sincerely thought I was being followed. I was literally getting ready in case the event happened. You just never know. You never know. All right. So anyway, let me just share part of the manifesto because it sounds it almost sounds. Let me just read it. I want to shoot up my school. I've been preparing for it for the past few months. As I sit in front of my dad's gun case and stare at the sleek black gun inside, all I can think about is my finger on the trigger, taking aim and killing people. The gun is an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle. It's the kind of gun with a long barrel and a stock you put up against your shoulder. The gun is going to change lives tomorrow. All right, I'm quoting. This is the manifesto. As I walk through the hallways, I cherry pick the classrooms that are the easiest targets. These ones are, listen to that, the easiest. See, this is what they always go for. These mass murderers always go for the easy pickings. They are intentionally not picking places where there will be no soft targets, where people might be armed. They are intentionally picking places where they can murder people like, ducks in a barrel, so to speak. That's what they're looking to do. And so when you're armed, you deter crime like this. That's why we don't have, when you talk about mass shootings hardly ever occur in places where you can carry. They just don't. He says, as I walk through the hallways, I cherry pick the classrooms that are the easiest targets. These ones are close to the entrance and have windows in the doors. I need to figure out how I'll sneak the gun in. Maybe a duffel bag will work. I just hope security doesn't stop me. All right. Another reason perhaps for armed security. It further read, and I'm just reading directly from the manifesto. Though I enjoy the hunting aspect of guns, I have contemplated making bombs. The instructions to make them are surprisingly available online. I could build one with a pressure cooker and remote control car, or I could make chemical weapons through mixing ammonia and bleach. The problem with that is that it will require a gas mask, and bombs are time consuming to build. I have also considered shooting up my former elementary school because little kids make easier targets, and I run the risk of getting attacked or tackled midway through with high schoolers. I also hated elementary school. The teachers were evil and the other students were little a-holes, he says. He says the whole word. I always got in trouble and had to sit out during recess. The other kids would pretend to be my friends but make fun of me to my face. It would be the perfect revenge. Close quote. So kids that aren't even there anymore. I mean, it's amazing. Or maybe they were. Maybe he remembered the kids that would do that to him, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna just smoke them. High schools are the best target. I'm the most familiar with the layout. I know where the doors with windows are, and it's the most convenient to enter. Truthfully, I would rather become a serial killer than a mass shooter. Serial killers are romanticized a lot more. John Lott, More Guns, Less Crime, Crime Research Institute talks about this. How overwhelmingly, over and over again, when they get a hold of these manifestos, these guys really do want their glory. They get tons of love letters, speaking of serial killers, and Netflix documentaries about them. Mass shooters are brushed off unless they are truly unique or good looking. So this kid was Asian. Would that make him unique? It'd be hard to tell me apart from the hundreds of other Asian guys at my school and a police lineup. My school is mostly Asian and white. It's an upper middle class Rockville. It's a suburban city in Maryland where almost everyone goes to college. I pace around my room like an evil mastermind. I put so much effort into this, it has to go well. I don't bother posting any cheesy "don't go to school tomorrow" if you value your life post for my 100 or so Instagram followers. The last thing I want is to get reported and get a SWAT team sent to my home. I picture the news stories. Deranged killer slays 17. There were no signs, says family in school. Man, this guy is sick. 20 dead, 15 injured at Rockville School. I plan on shooting myself once the police get there, so I'll never be able to see the news stories. I am pretty scared. What if I fail at killing myself and live the rest of my life disabled and serving a life sentence? Maryland doesn't even have the death penalty, which would be preferable in my opinion. Whoa. Millions of people die each day of cancer, old age, etc. It's no big deal. But shoot someone and suddenly everyone is all concerned. The news reports on it and protests for gun control happen. Nobody can escape death in the end. Why does it matter who delivers the final blow? It would bring me a lot of joy and satisfaction to kill. So it's kind of worth it in a way. That's evil personified. And you have people lifting up this trans community. Many. And listen, there are those that are, I do believe, sincerely suffer with gender dysphoria. And for them, it is an issue of they're confused about their sex. And I don't think that they should be, I don't think they should be mutilated by people taking advantage of their gender dysphoria. But and then you have people like this that I think will, because of social contagion, perhaps, will navigate towards that because they suffer with some other type of mental ailment. And then, but now the cool thing has been to become trans. But these people are actually mentally deranged and they need help. There's a newspaper announcing a new mass shooting at an elementary school. The kill count isn't very high. I could probably beat it. My ultimate goal would be to set the world record for the most amount of kills in a shooting. If I have enough time, I'll try to decapitate my victims with a knife to turn the injuries into deaths. Close quote. Biden's radicals. I feel like I got to take a shower, Gabe. That was some sick crap. Wow. Yeah, on that note, I hope you have a good weekend. Oh, God, sorry, guys. Listen, but man, guys, just be vigilant, be alert. Listen, we just have to be aware. You know what? I love you guys, and I want you to stay safe. And the left are building a team. They're building an army. They're building up their radicals. And these people will turn violent. And you have to be aware and you have to be prepared. Even if you're not a violent person, even if you don't intend to purchase a firearm or anything like that to defend yourself, hopefully you find yourself becoming situationally aware where at least you'll say, you know what, this looks like a dangerous situation. I need to get out of it, or I'm going to sit a little closer, perhaps to this exit door, or back here, somewhere where I can watch what's happening. Just be aware, be situationally aware, because the left is building an army, and it isn't just necessarily the woke army. It's mass murderers or wannabe mass murderers like this. It's the anti-Jewish, pro-Hamas protesters on college campuses like Columbia University. Be aware. Guys, until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.